Um, and that's a protection mechanism. And if you protect yourself correctly, properly, if you if you do set proper boundaries, people who follow those boundaries, people who honor your boundaries, people who listen to your boundaries will more often give you what you're looking for. You'll often have more stronger relationships. But they don't teach us how to build those relationships, only how to protect ourselves from harmful ones or for the harmful aspects of certain relationships. So I built unconditional boundaries to solve that, to give us a framework for building relationships, to give us a framework for creating, designing, and understanding relationships better. What are unconditional boundaries? Unconditional boundaries is a framework I created to change the focus from protecting ourselves from bad relationships to giving us the ability to create relationships, build relationships, and strengthen relationships. While many people who teach boundaries in the traditional sense do profess to help to use them to strengthen relationships, they do promise that using boundaries in the traditional sense do strengthen your relationships. And while that is kind of true, the way we use boundaries traditionally is they are a protection device. They're not a creation device or a building device. Typically, we use boundaries to stop bad things from happening or stop people from doing things we don't like, or, setting a line, drawing a line in the sand and saying, don't cross this. Putting up a fence around our yard and saying, you can't come into my yard unless you follow the rules that exist in my yard. Um, and that's a protection mechanism. And if you protect yourself correctly, properly, if you if you do set proper boundaries, people who follow those boundaries, people who honor your boundaries, people who listen to your boundaries will more often give you what you're looking for. You'll often have more stronger relationships. But they don't teach us how to build those relationships, only how to protect ourselves from harmful ones or for the harmful aspects of certain relationships. So I built unconditional boundaries to solve that, to give us a framework for building relationships, to give us a framework for creating, designing, and understanding relationships better. The framework starts off with the first kind of boundary. There are three boundaries, and it starts off with the first kind, which I call bridges. As you can see in the picture in my background, there is a bridge there. A bridge represents a connection between two people, a single point of connection between two people. There may be several bridges, and often is several bridges between two people. Each bridge is a different point of connection, a different value or belief that they connect on. Sometimes we connect on by sharing our identities or our interests. A bridge is an invitation or an offer to connect. When we create a bridge with somebody, we've offered to connect with them based on a shared value, a shared interest, shared belief, something like that. And when we offer to connect with them, we then give them the option to accept or refuse that offer or invitation. How might that might work in real life is, say I value my freedom. I value being out on the open road and talking with different people in different areas and different regions and different places. I value just being in a different town every day or every week, being in a different city all the time. I value traveling, local traveling, not necessarily international traveling. So I shared that with somebody. I see somebody else in a concert or at a coffee shop or in line at the grocery store, and I see that they're also buying travel items. So I might start up a conversation that says something to the effect of, "Oh, I also like I see you have travel items. Do you like to travel? I like to travel. I like to drive around. I like my freedom." That's an invitation. I just created an invitation to connect on the value of freedom or the interest of traveling. And if they accept that invitation, they might respond by, "Yeah, I am traveling, or I do like to travel. Currently, I'm staying at my mom's place or whatever, but I do like to travel. So, that's great. Maybe we should have a conversation about that someday." So there's a beginning of a friendship. It's a shallow, not very concrete friendship, and we men may never talk again, or we may exchange phone numbers or social media contacts or something in order to stay in contact with each other. But that's an invitation. An offer might look like, "Oh, I see somebody who has a value of, oh, I don't know, um, let's say a value of harmony. They like to keep a harmonious environment around them. They like to they like people to be joyful and happy and free of conflict. And let's see, um, I noticed somebody going into an effort at a social event to calm, arguments and um, to what do they call that? De-escalate conflict. I see them attempting to create harmony. So I see their value, or I see their belief or their interest, and then I might offer to connect with them because I might share that value. Maybe I also believe in harmony, and maybe I'll offer to help them de-escalate situations or to help them create or maintain harmony in a situation. So that's where I might walk up to them and say, "Look, I see that you're trying to de-escalate. Can I help in some way?" And therefore, we might create a friendship based on that. Um, a bridge, we create bridges by creating invitations and offers. We might do so in an existing friendship or relationship. We might do so in a brand new friendship or relationship. We might start a brand new friendship or relationship using a bridge, or we might build an existing one using a new bridge, using a new value that we've discovered. The difference between an invitation and an offer is an invitation is me sharing my values and inviting them, if they share that value, to connect. And an offer is me seeing a value of theirs that I relate to and share and offering to create a connection based on that shared value. So those are bridges. Bridges are ways we connect. We connect through bridges. That's how we start connections, and that's how we increase connections that already exist, increase relationships. This is how we create new connections within an existing relationship. Oh, we're already friends because we play video games together, but it turns out you also like to go skiing. Well, I like to go skiing too. Let's go skiing together. Right? So that's how you increase relationships. And every point of connection is a different bridge, is a separate bridge. That's important because sometimes our bridges change. Sometimes the value or interest changes. Maybe I stop liking skiing for some reason. I don't like to ski anymore. Something happened, or my interest changed, or my life purposes change. What I want out of life changes, and I just don't like the same thing. So if I stop liking skiing, am I suddenly not friends with the people I ski with, or can I be friends with them on other topics? If every connection is a single bridge, then if that bridge collapses or changes, then we can no longer be friends. And this is how a lot of people treat their friendships, their relationships. If one thing we share doesn't still exist, we can't be friends anymore. So it's important that bridges are on a specific topic, on a specific value or interest. because they might change. They can change. They often do change as we change and evolve. So this gives our friendships, our relationships, even our romantic relationships, the opportunity to change and evolve as we and the other person do. Um, how we do this is through the second boundary called beacons. A beacon is like a spotlight that you shine on a specific connection, a specific bridge, on a specific point of connection within your relationship. You shine this light on it because it seems like something's off. We used to both like skiing, but neither one of us has really planned a skiing event in a couple of years. So maybe we don't like skiing anymore, or maybe we still do. We just been busy. I don't really know what's going on here. Can we discuss it? Do we both still like skiing? Right? We shine a big beacon on it. We sit down and have a conversation, or we talk about it over the phone, or maybe we go skiing and actually sit at the lodge while we're there and have this conversation. Do we both still like to do that? Do we both still value harmony? Do we both still want freedom? Maybe one of us has found a life partner and we want to settle down and change our value from freedom into security. And maybe we don't want freedom anymore. Maybe that's not a value for us anymore. Or if it is, it's more lower on the list and we value security more. So we shine a beacon on that value, on that interest, on that connection point, on that bridge, and we sit down and have a conversation. Has something changed? Do you still want what you wanted? Do I still want what I used to want? Or maybe we do both still want that thing, and just one of us or both of us are not acting according to that interest or that value. Maybe we're out of integrity with ourselves. Maybe we're not honoring our own values. It's not about calling them on their stuff. It's not about calling them on their crap. It's about, do you still want what you said you wanted? It's about curiosity. It's about interest. It's about, are you still in this place that you wanted? It's okay if you're not. Maybe you've changed. And if we have several points of connection, maybe this just isn't something we're connected on anymore. Maybe this just isn't something we share anymore. And that's okay. We'll just leave that out of my life, out of our relationship. I have plenty of other people to go skiing with. If you don't want to go skiing anymore, that's fine. I'll go skiing with other people. Maybe we still like to play video games, but we can do that on the odd occasion. So just because you're not connected with something on a topic, on a value, on an interest anymore, does not mean you've lost that relationship. It just means you've lost or changed that particular characteristic of your relationship with that person. And when that doesn't work, when you do sit down and you discuss the value and it has changed. One of you just has decided that yes, this value no longer exists the way it used to. I no longer share this particular value. I no longer share freedom. And the other person decides you must. This is very important to me that we share this particular value, this particular interest. If you have evolved and changed and the other person has not, and they're insisting that we stay connected on this topic, if they won't let you move on from this value or this interest, if they're insisting we keep it, which many people do, that can become harmful. In fact, a lot of our conflict in relationships is because one person wants something that the other person doesn't, and the person who wants it insists that they share that thing. They don't have to. So this is where the third boundary, which is much closer to what traditionally we teach boundaries to be. I call that boundary a barrier because we're trying to create space between ourselves and that person on that topic. Only on that topic. If they keep insisting that we travel together, that we go see new things together, that we go, drive around and go visit new cities all the time, and they're always inviting us, and they're always getting angry when we refuse, and they're getting upset, and it's hurting our relationship, then we can sit down and have a conversation. Maybe we have had a beacon, or we have used a beacon and examined these values, and I don't want the same thing I used to want. And I don't want to share that with you anymore because I don't enjoy it anymore. It's not a priority for me anymore. But if you're still insisting that I need to, then I might use a barrier. I might say, look, I no longer have this interest. It is not a thing I'm interested in. It's not something that I want to discuss with you any longer. This is not a welcome conversation or a welcome connection point. I'll put up a barrier every time you insist on me going someplace with you. I'm just not going to talk to you about that topic. I'm just not going to be interested in that topic. I'll hang up the phone. I'll leave the room. I'll disconnect our connection. I'll disconnect our conversation when that topic comes up. That's what boundaries do. That's what barriers do. That's the traditional sense of boundaries. But I want to clarify that that is to separate, to create distance between ourselves, between you and me, yourself and another person, between two or more people based on a unaligned, incongruous, unshared value or interest, something that is different, something that we don't share. It's to create space to 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 set a boundary, to draw a line in the sand, to put up a fence and say, this is not welcome in our relationship any longer. It's not something I want. This is something we do when we get into relationships with somebody, and maybe we never did share a value with somebody. Maybe they insisted they want to treat us a certain way, and we don't want to be treated that way. Or maybe they do certain things or insist on certain things, and we don't want those things. That's where we create barriers. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't abandon the old system, the traditional system of boundaries. I'm only suggesting that if we protect first, we end up with no relationships. What I'm suggesting is let's build relationships first and protect ourselves from the harmful ones afterwards. Because the more we can build relationships that strengthen us, that heal us, that bring us joy, the less need we have to protect ourselves from harmful ones. So let's build better relationships. The three kinds of boundaries are bridges to connect, beacons to examine, and barriers to protect. Bridges, beacons, and barriers are the foundation of the unconditional boundaries framework. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.